Right, so getting to the third starter deck, Heaven's Yellow. This is going to be against Red, which is Yellow's difficult matchup, at least in my view. First off, you have your basic vanillas. I'm not going to go over these or the blocker because we've seen how these cards work already. Instead, I want to go right into the more interesting effects. We've seen Takeru take action a bit before. This Tamer card is up there with Yamato. During your turn, Takeru gives all of your security Digimon 2000 DP, and this stacks. In the app, Yellow's early game is pretty much about stalling until you can get 2 or more Takeru out, because at that point it becomes very easy to just tank a hit and punish the opponent for it with a Digimon that has a very inflated defensive power. Yellow is actually pretty good at making Metal Garurumon unable to attack safely. Tokomon, the starter for this deck, during your turn, once per turn, when your opponent's Digimon is destroyed by having its DP reduced to 0, this Digimon gets 1000 DP. It's not a fantastic effect, but it helps make up for the fact that Seraphimon, the key card of the deck, only has 10k DP. That's 1 less than Metal Garurumon, 2 less than War Greymon. This game has a rule that it kind of inherited from Duel Masters, because this game is built from Chrono Clash, which was designed by Ryan Miller, who was one of the lead designers on Duel Masters. When a Digimon's power is reduced to 0, it dies. I believe that actually comes from the fact that the power stat in Duel Masters is the result of merging power and toughness from Magic the Gathering, and in Magic the Gathering, when your toughness is reduced to 0, you're destroyed. Patamon, the level 3 for the deck, during your turn, once per turn, when your opponent's Digimon is destroyed by having its DP reduced to 0, you get +1 memory. I kind of started to get at this idea with Hammer Spark in the previous video, that basically as long as you don't pass, any changes you make to memory become permanent and affect the entire course of the game. So +1 memory might not seem like that much on an individual turn, but over the course of an entire match, you are causing that memory gauge to continually bounce closer to your side and have higher memory on average than your opponent. Of course, when going up against Blue, if they play Hammer Spark, every instance of Hammer Spark will neutralize 1 instance of Patamon in the long run. The level 5 for the deck, Holy Angemon. When it attacks, during this turn, one of your opponent's Digimon gets -1000 DP. This is a source effect, so it's only effective when you have a level 6 Digimon in play, Holy Dramon or Seraphimon, and Seraphimon's effect is meant to complement that when Seraphimon attacks, during this turn, one of your opponent's Digimon gets -4000 DP. So combine that with Holy Angemon, you can do -5 to something, typically enough to take out a level 4 or less, unless it's a blocker, in which case you'll need some other effect like a second Holy Angemon going off to destroy it. But it's also just useful for weakening blockers and guaranteeing that they will be destroyed if they try to block your other Digimon. Heaven's Charm, main effect, during this turn, one of your opponent's Digimon gets -2000 DP. This is pretty useful for just dispelling level 3s, because unless they're vanillas, they're not surviving that. It can also be used in combination with Seraphimon to snipe specific Digimon, because at that point you're talking about taking out a level 5 or less. And then Holy Flame, this one was actually mistranscribed initially. The main phase effect is that until the end of your opponent's next turn, one of their Digimon gets security attack -3. Not -1, but -3. The security effect is that when it's checked during this turn, all of your opponent's Digimon get security attack -1, almost like a reverse critical trigger in Cardfight Vanguard. So when the security effect happens, that's basically going to stop most of the attacks from the rest of the turn from breaking security. The main phase effect is a little more proactive. It's a defensive option, like using Starlight Explosion in Gaia Red. And then you've already seen me play the Gaia Red deck, although I didn't explicitly comment on it. The main features of the deck are that Metal Greymon has a source effect that when it is blocked you get +3 memory, which is huge and can functionally make Metal Greymon unblockable some of the time. And then War Greymon's effect just increases the number of security it breaks by 1 for every 2 evolution sources it has. So evolving straight from Koromon all the way up to War Greymon, it will be able to break 3 security naturally. It's interesting because originally the version of Metal Greymon that they were showing had an untap effect that after it destroyed a Digimon by battle, it could untap itself, which would functionally allow Wargreymon to attack a rested Digimon and then attack again, but I guess they didn't want two untapping Digimon as the focal points for the first two starter decks, since that's already Metal Garurumon's thing. And I realize this is the third video on this that I've done, but I think I have failed to mention Summoning Sickness. This game has what is known popularly as Summoning Sickness, that when a Digimon is placed, it can't attack in the same turn that it's placed. If you've been paying attention though, you may have noticed that Digimon that evolve in the raising area and then are moved into the battle area can attack in the same turn they were put down. That's because evolving is not the same as placing, and more importantly, moving from the raising area is not the same as placing. Alright, so only level 3 we have available, get that free filter out. Well, it doesn't feel great, but it's better than letting the opponent have 3 memory. Alright, Tucker is in play. Makes the early game attack even more dangerous than it was before. He uses Starlight Explosion, so plus 7,000 DP to all of his security Digimon during my turn. I wasn't going to attack anyway, but now I am extra not going to attack. Well, this could not really do much this turn, because we can't attack untapped Digimon. This will give him 1 more memory, but we'll have Seraphimon set up. And you know, it doesn't feel great, but I'll go for it. Okay, Hoemon out, so we do not have to deal with security attack +1 this turn. And Patamon's doing his best. Build up our field a little bit more. Okay, so right now we can attack Hoemon, and you might think that's a bad idea, but Seraphimon's on attack ability activates regardless of what he's attacking. So right now we can give -1k for Holy Angemon and then -4k for Seraphimon's effect, and revenge kill this Hoemon here. Now, it doesn't bring us any closer to winning, but it does keep him from advancing his game plan as aggressively as he was doing. Yeah, we'll go with this. Oh, thanks for doing that. Now this will bring it up to his turn. So we're not going to do that. First off, just going to clear out this War Greymon to make it safe. And then if we lose the Holy Angemon there, see, it might be tempting to just field another Seraphimon, but the benefit of going to Holy Dramon this turn is that we can do it without it becoming his turn, and also the higher base power makes it harder for stuff to just face you in. Well, I really don't want to pass. There's nothing out in the battle area to use Holy Flame on. Nothing to use this on either. Well, in this circumstance, passing is probably the best move. It can be good to preemptively put out blockers long in advance of the opponent actually having anything that will be on the field long enough to attack. But in this case, I'm just going to prioritize not giving them more memory than I already have. Oh hey, Takeru. Well, I'm glad that was the second card checked. Alright, put this out to end the turn. And that's the benefit of Takeru. Alright, no more evolving for the rest of this turn, although actually we may just win here. So, Agumon was destroyed by having its DP reduced to 0, therefore all of our instances of Tokamon proc on all 3 of our Digimon, and the Patamon that we have underneath Holy Angemon is going to go off as well and increase our memory by 1. And that's game. Now, this here is a new feature that they just added to the app on the 31st, I believe, that when you win a battle in the app once per day, you can click this button and go to the official website in your mobile browser, and you can enter a contest to win one of 1,000 free starter decks. This is active, March 31st at midnight to April 23rd at 11:59 p.m. But how it works is, when you're taken over here, you choose a card, you pick a card and flip it face up, and either you miss or you succeed. So, I've already gotten a Hazude, a miss, once. Let's see. Ah, missed again. All right. So I don't know if they're actually obligated to honor. This contest is really, it was written in Japanese, it was made for Japanese players, it's targeted at them. Bandai has in the past honored contest winners for other stuff that were overseas but entered. Like, I think their online Digivice competition was originally won by somebody from an English-speaking country. And they did in fact send the prizes to that person. But there's no guarantee that they will. And yet, I don't really care too much if they do or not, because think about it this way. Let's say that a whole bunch of English speakers did win the contest. People from the United States, the United Kingdom, Australia, places that are not Japan. And Bandai decides they're not going to do this, because the app isn't actually officially available in their countries. And maybe there's something in the fine print that I didn't see about it. I know you have to either have or you have to make a Bandai Namco account when you win. I didn't see if there was anything in the fine print about, like, only available to people in Japan. But even if they refuse, the fact that a whole bunch of people did enter and tried to win and are interested in this game that are in a country where it's not officially available, I think that would send a strong message to them, which is why I'm still going to enter every day, and I encourage everybody else to do it. If you want to try to download the teaching app for yourself, I know the easiest way for most people is through QOO. That's QOO app, no spaces, which is an app for downloading anime games, basically. I was kind of suspicious of QOO at first. I haven't noticed it doing anything particularly shady since trying it in BlueStacks. I figured that was a safer environment than on my actual phone. Otherwise, you could install it just by downloading the APK file and installing it yourself on your Android phone. I don't know what the iOS equivalent of that is. I presume that Apple does not allow you to just download apps and install them for yourself because they love their whole the user can't mess with the computer philosophy. And you could also try making a Japanese Google Play or iOS account in order to get it. But if you get your chance, yeah, go in and try to enter that raffle and we'll see. So if you took anything away from these videos now that we've covered how to play each of the 3 decks, I hope that you're at least interested in the game. If not, like, actively commenting on everything Bandai posts, begging them to bring it over. I feel almost bad that there are, like, more comments in English on the official Japanese YouTube channel than there are in Japanese, and I'm sure we come off as the most obnoxious people for it, but if it works out in the end and we get the game and it actually is big in the West, I want to make a video just talking about this fact. We're at a juncture right now where people are looking for a game to play. They're really sick of Bushiroad's practices, they're sick of Konami. Pokemon players are tired of TPCI just pumping out the same big basics with inflated numbers year after year after year. People want something with a little more depth than most of those games that is also going to treat them better in terms of organized play and support. And Bandai's done a pretty good job with Dragon Ball Super in the West. And if that is indicative of how they're going to treat the game, I would feel confident in them bringing it over. But also the last Digimon TCG... Okay, I gotta do something on this. The English-only Digimon Fusion card game was actually really good. It shouldn't have been, it had no right to be. But it was a very soundly designed game that should have made it to its second booster set. The card previews we got were very nice. The packaging and distribution and advertising, not so much. I am confident that if we get this game in the West, it will not exactly be an uphill battle to make it into something. I think the worst case scenario for a localized Digimon card game worldwide is that it has a good 2 years. More optimistically, I'm thinking at least 3 to 4. It's not quite the best game ever because it's targeted at 9-year-olds. Literally, the packaging we're staring at right now says, for ages 9 and up in Japanese. That's a step up over Pokemon saying that it's for 6 and up, which was the age limitation they moved it down to in Black and White On. This is not like Wicross or peak era Cardfight Vanguard level design. But it could get kinda close to that. Which is why I'm excited for the game. Anyways, this has been Toya. Thank you for joining me today. If you liked what you saw, please consider liking and subscribing to support the channel. You can find me on Twitter at Towoya, on Twitch at DecodeToya, and of course, right here at Maniac's channel.